Whoever is concerned about the hereafter, Allah will place a richness in his heart, and he will bring his affairs together, and the world will inevitably come to him. وَأَتَتْهُ الدُّنْيَا وَهِيَ رَاغِمَةٌ. And conversely, whoever is concerned about the world as his primary concern, the dunya, وَمَكَانَتَ الدُّنْيَا هَمَّهُ, Allah will place poverty between his eyes. Allah will place poverty between his eyes, irrespective of how much physical wealth he actually has. One of the most richest people to have ever walked this earth, John D. Rockefeller, was known to have lived a life of misery because he was miserably worried, concerned, distraught, anxious over loss of wealth constantly, despite the fact that he was worth 900 million in the early 1900s, which the equivalent today would be something along the lines of $400 billion. Despite that, he was always, constantly, perpetually terrified of poverty. So whoever is concerned about the world, Allah will place poverty between his eyes, disorder his affairs, and he will get nothing of the world except what was decreed for him in the first place. Now, we can apply this to many different areas of our lives, but for the most of you who are attempting to get married here, during your stay here in the Mahdi method, we're going to apply this hadith specifically to your pursuit of finding a wife. The one who concerns himself primarily with the hereafter, Allah will place a richness in his heart, meaning you will be content. Irrespective of your current situation, you will always feel content. No matter how many things are going left in your right or how long Allah has tested you and trialed you, you will still have this contentment in your heart. Why? Because you have made the hereafter your priority and your primary concern. So irrespective of what you do or don't have, you will be content. And just know, by the way, that this world was not designed for you to have everything that you wanted. There will always be something in this world that you are lacking. That's the point of it. Your life, your time on this earth is a test. It's an imtihan. It's a test to reveal the real you. The dunya is a revealer. It strips you down to who you really are. Have you ever heard of the saying, money changes people? Well, this is obviously incorrect. Money doesn't change people. Money brings out the person you always were. For example, you might have heard people say, oh, rich people are stingy. Rich people are not stingy. People are stingy. Certain individuals are stingy. It's just that when that individual didn't have money, he didn't have much wealth to be stingy with. But he was stingy in his heart. He was always a miser. He was always a Scrooge. He was always a stinge bag. And when Allah blessed him with more wealth, or could be even a curse for that matter, because sometimes a gain of wealth can be a test that brings out the worst in you, as is in this example, his stinginess was on full display for all to see equally. There are individuals in this world who have not a penny, not a dime to their name, but they are extremely generous in their heart. And the little they do have, they are quick to share it with others. And if Allah happens to bestow upon them great amounts of wealth, then their innate generosity is amplified. They have more stuff to be generous with. But that trait was already in the heart, and this dunya is designed to reveal the real you. So moving away from the example of wealth, if you see yourself behaving in a manner that you know is not befitting of a Muslim, that you know is not pleasing to Allah, that doesn't bring you closer to Allah, just know that the dunya has revealed the real you. Now do not despair, do not lose hope. لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Don't despair in the hope of Allah. Repent, turn back to Allah. But pay attention, take note that, okay, this side to me that came out after Allah tested me with this, I don't like this. This is not befitting of a Muslim. This has brought me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I need to check this because the dunya has revealed the real me. Check yourself before it's too late. So the one who is concerned about the hereafter, Allah will place a richness in his heart. He will gather his affairs together. Oof. You know, as somebody who runs 3 businesses, all of them have their own time burdens involved. Life, and then on top of that, like I forgot, I've got nearly 10 kids and multiple wives and whatnot. Life can get very, very busy. And do you know what I have found to be my cheat code? Wallahi al-Azim. Wallahi. The work never stops. And if you own a business, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that no matter how much work you do in a day, there's always more to do. because you never arrive. Like, even if you do all your to-do list, there is technically more that you could do. You could find more. It never ends. And what I have found, and this is so powerful, and I want you to take this and utilize it in your own lives as well, whether it's for business, whether it's for dealing with women, whether it's for whatever. When you prioritize your day around your religion and not your religion around your day, things just play out the way that you want them to. Things just work out, sometimes in weird ways, in ways that you never even anticipated, but because you prioritized your religion, because you prioritized your Lord, you showed Allah, you proved to him that you are prioritizing him first, he gathered your affairs together. You were concerned about the hereafter first, he gathered your affairs together. So what am I referring to? I'm not just talking about the wajibat, praying 5 times a day, which is pretty much the only thing we have to do on a day-to-day basis as Muslims. I'm talking about going above and beyond. Praying your salah in the masjid to the best of your ability if you're able to. Increasing in your memorization of the Quran. I have found, subhanAllah, ever since I have taken on a Quran teacher and taken my Quran studies far more seriously, it's a beautiful thing, man. I hate to admit this yet, but sometimes I'd wake up from a slumber after having gone to bed, and there'll be a song in my head. Wallahi, there'll be like some music in my head, bruv. I don't listen to music, but it's a track that my ears picked up from the gym, or it picked up from the mall, or from somewhere, somebody blasting it, or even sometimes I haven't heard this track in years, and it's come out of the recesses of my brain, something that I once heard in Jahiliyyah, and I wake up to that. And I feel ashamed of myself. You know, subhanAllah, since I've taken my Quran studies far more seriously, and I have a Quran teacher and I have to read to every single week, and you know, I have a program that I go through every single day. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, all praise is due to Allah. I wake up with the Quran playing in my ears. My own voice, because my own voice is the voice that I hear the most. Obviously, I'm reciting. It's a beautiful thing. Increasing your memorization of the Quran. There are times when I will be so preoccupied and busy. I really don't know where to start. Like, don't think I got it all figured out, guys. Yeah? Wallahi, Allah knows I don't. You just see the highlights of my life on social media. Allah knows how much is going on in the background that I don't know. And I completely rely on him, on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to figure it out for me, because I don't have the answers. And sometimes I will become so overwhelmed, I'll be like, Banuris, I'm out. Give me my mushaf. I'll take my mushaf and I'll go and sit down. I'll make my wudu first, send salutations upon the Prophet, and I start with my muraja'ah. Sometimes half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour can even pass. Sometimes I didn't even realize it. And you know what? I feel amazing afterwards. And you know what? Things just figure themselves out. I have to go back to work. I do have to continue with what I was doing, but it somehow figures itself out. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, all praise is due to Allah, the one who is concerned about the hereafter. Allah will place a richness in his heart, and he will gather his affairs together, and the world will inevitably come to him. I was speaking to one of my friends who's an 8-figure entrepreneur, and I was asking him for advice of how he manages his religious duties with his business duties. And when I say religious duties, I'm talking about the supererogatory stuff, okay? The going above and beyond. And he mentioned to me, and he gave me a number of very beneficial advices, because I know he runs a big business, and he has multiple businesses in different areas as well. Like, they're not connected and related to each other, but he's doing more than 8 figures. And he said to me that, Mahdi, you know, I rarely work more than 10 hours a week. Brother, I wanted to slap him through the phone, bruv. What are you talking about? He said, I rarely work more than 10 hours a week. I was like, wow. He said, I prioritize. I'm paraphrasing what he said now, okay? He prioritizes the crux of it. He prioritizes his religion around his work and not the other way around. He gave some specific advices, keeping the ties of kinship, especially with family members that you don't like. He mentioned that very specifically. He said, I found this to be one of the most fastest ways to expedite your business endeavors, or to become more successful in your business. Interesting. Keeping ties with keeping family ties with those particularly whom you don't particularly like. Number of benefits, but the bottom line was prioritize your religion around your work and not the other way around. Or in your case right now, prioritize your religion around your marriage pursuits and not the other way around. Because something very interesting happens when you're interacting with a sister for the purpose of marriage, and she can sense that she is playing second fiddle to your deen. She is playing second fiddle to your religion. She can sense that there is something unattainable about you. There is something ungraspable, something uncorruptible. And subhanallah, this void that exists between her and you that she will never be able to quite reach makes her even more attracted to you, makes her desire and covet you even more. But, and I warn you, because the flip side of this, the other part, the second half of this hadith, whoever is concerned about the world as his primary concern, Allah will place a poverty in between his eyes, irrespective of how much wealth you have, as I mentioned about John D. Rockefeller earlier. He will disorder his affairs. So no matter how much you try to keep your life in order, it will always feel like it's running away from you. And if I am perfectly honest with myself, when I feel that sometimes life is running away from me and I'm becoming overwhelmed, I use that as a litmus test, as a warning sign. Right, Mahdi, back to the deen. Pick up the Mus'haf, go read some Quran, go and help your brother. In fact, I have a hadith here. It's from the 40 hadith that Imam al-Nawawi compiled. And this one is number 36. What is it? I'm just reading the middle of the hadith. Allah will aid a servant of his so long as his servant aids his brother. Allah will continue to be in your aid so long as you continue to be in the aid of your brother. This is one way. Find a way to be in the aid of your brother. And don't let him know about it. And don't let anyone else know about it. Just keep it between you and your Lord. Find ways to do things for the sake of Allah that people don't know about, only your Lord. And then when you find yourself distressed, you find yourself in a particular situation, you're stressed out, you really want this thing to work out, you're in conversation with a sister, you really want to marry her, whatever the case may be, go and talk to your Lord. Sometimes I'm like a mad person. I'm in the car. You'd think I'm a mad person. I'm literally having conversations with Allah. I'm letting Allah know what I did for his sake. Wallahi, I'm saying, Allah, I did this for you. I didn't tell no one, my wife, my kids, my friend, my business partner. Nobody knows, Allah, only you know. I did this for you. Please help me here. I did it for you. Don't let man hang out here. That help me, because I can't do it without you. I'm having these conversations, bro. And don't think you're strange to have conversations like this with your Lord. This shows the strength of your connection with your Lord. If you're not having conversations like this, like speaking out loud, this shows that the connection you have with your Lord is not that strong. Like, it's a bit distant. No, you need to be having conversations like this. Talk to Allah. He hears you. Talk to him. Have these conversations with him. Because the one who prioritizes this world over his hereafter, Allah will place the poverty in between his eyes. He will disorder his affairs, and then in the end, he will not get anything of this world except what was decreed for him in the first place.